morning, Sherry. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for joining me today. So, Sherry and I today are going to talk about community management. And never has there been a more important time for brands to think about this in light of COVID. In light of the fact that we're still in the thick of it here, and in light of the fact that in China they're well on their way to recovery. So I've got Sherry here, who I would like to introduce, who's one of our senior account managers at Emerging Communications. So Sherry, do you want to just quickly say what it is that you do at Emerging Communications?
Yeah, sure. So, hi, my name is Sherry. I'm a senior account executive working in Emerging Communications luxury and retail division. And this is my second year working in our client services team. So my day-to-day work includes such as client communications, project planning and management, as well as I run different communities for brands and retailers across Chinese social media platforms, so such as WeChat, Weibo, and Little Red Book.
Fantastic, thank you very much. So we've obviously got a webinar in a couple of weeks' time on community management. After popular demand from our brands, we've done a lot of community management training, and a lot of our brands have said, please do some community management on a webinar. So that's what we're doing. So this blog really is just to talk a little bit about why we are going to do that and what we're going to talk about. So people talk about the benefits of community management, and I feel, and you feel, they're quite widely overlooked. So why do you think it's vital and important for British brands to be managing their communities with their Chinese stakeholders? It's not just consumers, it's the entire supply chain as well. Why is it so important, Sherry?
So before talk about that, I would like to share my thoughts about peer communications. So I think peer communications within online communities have become even more important recently for these audiences. So for example, they would like to share all their shopping experiences, their shopping tips with their followers, their friends online. So when we say community management, which means to manage your brand's online communities, do you think it is just like replying messages? I don't think so. I think it is actually a very, very important part of your brand consumer journeys in terms of how others sees your products or brands online. So communities, you need to keep an ongoing conversations with your online customers. And I think this is even more important now during the pandemic, because most of the shops, retailers, they are struggling with their offline presence. So using communities can be used as an excellent test or research facilities. And for the UK or for Western brands or retailers, that is hugely beneficial in like removing the handicap of often not being close enough with their customers online or having understanding of them. And I think communities can give you a responsive representative cross-section of your prime target audiences who are willing to have dialogue with you. So you can really learn so much from them about whether you are doing things right, how to create the optimal products or service offerings they like, or just simply where or when they want to buy your products or offerings, or like what messages work or not work. And I think you can also ask questions, and then you can segment, you can test, and all the time you are selling to the community, it is selling for you through recommendations. So I think this is a perfect sell and marketing scenario you can have by doing it right.
I think that's really interesting, because certainly you and I get quite frustrated when we talk to brands when their attitude towards community management is, well, Domenica, we do it. We answer all the inquiries, normally within about a week, which of course is too long. And our answer to that is, it's not just about a question and answer in terms of what is community management. It's about growing and building advocacy within the brand, building what we call KOCs, which we'll talk about a lot in the webinar, so key opinion consumers, peer-to-peer recommendation. And actually, Sherry, the brands that go ahead and create a real dialogue with their customers and their stakeholders, not just a reply, yes, no type of answer, but they're actually building a community. They set themselves apart, don't they, as British brands with Chinese audiences. It becomes a differentiator, it becomes a unique selling point, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true. And also by doing it right. So we just want to be clear, when we say community management, it means to manage your online community. So it's like your WeChat account, your Weibo account, your Little Red Book, or even TikTok, which is so popular recently, and especially for Chinese audiences.
Yeah.
And I think by managing them right, you can really identify who you are talking to, and also to build connections with them. You can maintain your brand, even extend your brand awareness, and then you will really have your own followers, like loyal fans. And then many new opportunities will coming up by doing it right. And on, like, from a commercial perspective, you can drive sales automatically. That's our goal. And also, even more, I think you can save a lot of save your brand from a lot of trouble.
So let's get on to the elephant in the room then. So basically, a lot of our brands will come to us to have help with community management because they've had some kind of crisis by trying to do it themselves, or worse than that, by failing to actually manage their platforms. So we've talked a little bit about, if you use community management effectively, it's a really good sales and marketing tool. It differentiates the brand. It gives a lot of positive sentiment, a lot of advocacy. People will buy more from you. It's equally as important, isn't it, Sherry, that if you have a bad post on one of your platforms that is visible for everybody, something that a consumer has said or a stakeholder has said, that you do something about it quite quickly, and that you know how to answer. And this is one of the things that we're going to talk about at length in the joint webinar Sherry and I do at the end of the month, details of which will be at the end of this vlog. And give me some sort of examples of some things that you've come across with brands in different sectors of luxury where it's caused some kind of bad taste in the mouth from consumers. So why do we need to care about how we answer the negative comments on social, and how quickly should you be getting back to people as well?
So yeah, this is a really good question. I think one of the reasons I found companies or businesses from the West fail to manage their Chinese online communities properly is that they might underestimate the power and the speed of their Chinese online communities. So for example, when the brands start to have their Chinese communities, the process from creating shareable content to present those contents on their WeChat or Weibo, it is faster, it is more prevalent, and in some respects, it is even more effective compared to the traditional Western marketing paradigm, especially for Chinese audiences. So when something goes wrong, even though it's just a simple negative comment under your post, but the brands cannot resolve it quickly, it scales up really quickly. So by managing your community properly and have the ability to spot those red flags and to respond on time and strategically, you can save your brand from many potential PR crises, and you can also control the damage, I would say.
Absolutely. And we've seen it time and time again. Brands that actually respond to a comment very quickly, take it offline, so take it into a private messaging environment, and then end up with you end up with what we call a KOC, a key opinion consumer, a really happy customer, because you've dealt with them quickly, you've dealt with them on a personal level. They then become your biggest ambassador. So it actually can end up being, conversely, a sales tool if it's handled correctly. But more so than in the UK, if something happens and somebody's unhappy with the service that they may have had from you as a brand and you don't deal with it, it will escalate really, really quickly. That's one of the things that we're going to talk about in the webinar in a couple of weeks' time. Very conscious that I don't want to answer everything that we're going to have in the webinar. So just one final thing, Sherry. If you have, or you are, let's just take a retail brand, you'll tend to have a lot of questions on social media that are similar. And one of the things that we advocate is to have a guide or to have FAQs answered on your WeChat, a WeChat mini program or on a menu bar. So the same questions are there answered so that you find that you don't spend so much time responding. Do you think that's really important for brands to think about in the management of their WeChat accounts?
Yeah, of course. So I think when we say like community management is not just about replying messages, it also doesn't mean that you need to over reply all the messages.
Yeah, good
For
point.
example, just like you mentioned, like if you have one general question, but just keep coming up and being asked by your followers, I think should you just keep replying all the messages, or we can actually find a more effective way to manage this. So FAQ is a great suggestion that we can use, that you can include all the answers of your frequently asked questions within the WeChat menu bar or within your Weibo account. So when people are keep asking the same question, you have the link that can redirect those followers to the FAQ page, and then they can see the answer. And also by replying those in public, other people who have the same answers, they can see your answers right away. So you don't really need to do it again. So by effectively use that technique, you will save a lot of time.
That's a really good point, because a lot of brands say to us, Domenica, we don't have time for effective community management. It takes up so much time. There are what we call hacks, like FAQs, guidebooks, customized menus that have the same content that's frequently asked for. And again, this comes down to just understanding the customer's needs and wants by actually looking at your feed or having somebody manage your feed and feedback on a regular basis, weekly or monthly, what it is your customers are talking about. Also, provide yourself with a sales hook. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm really looking forward to co-presenting this with you, Sherry, in a couple of weeks. For any brand looking to better communicate with customers, to know how better to reply to messages, to basically limit or to reduce the resource in order to do so, how to build KOCs, key opinion consumers within the group and communities, and how to do it right and how to do it smartly as part of a sales and marketing plan, then please tune into our webinar in a couple of weeks, details of which are at the end, and we look forward to seeing you. And please subscribe to our Emerging Comms YouTube, and all of the vlogs, webinars, podcasts are going to be posted on there in coming weeks around all sorts of subjects, all things China. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.